How to make an app that will satisfy thousands of users. In today's world, it's a very tough competition. Before we start the video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the bell button, and let's go. If you turn back to 2007, when iOS and iPhone were just released, you will see that most of the apps were the same interface and same features. The App Store was just a big collection of calculators, utilities, and etc. Today, more than 10 years later, everything has changed. Apps need very cool, engaging interface, modern colors, gradients, and in most cases everything that can differentiate your product from masses of others. There are millions of apps on the market, and yours must offer something new to beat the competition. You can start with animation to make it trendy, stylish, and useful. Apple has made a core animation framework. It provides a high frame rate and smooth animations without burdening the CPU and slowing down the app. You can configure core animations parameters such as start and end points, and core animation does the rest. The main object of core animation is layer. Layer has two dimensions, X and Y. It has similar properties to view except the anchor point. Layer has three parameters: background, content, and border. Layer is actually a particular moment of the animation, therefore a bunch of such layers is needed. In core animations there are three layer trees. First is model layer tree, which is final meaning of the animation. Second is presentation tree, which is current state of the animation. And third is render tree, which actually makes the animation. In core animation framework there are two models of the animation: implicit and explicit. In implicit animation, all changes are done asynchronously, step by step. In explicit animation, there is start and end point. It is more flexible in general. Let's consider the most essential explicit animations. First, let's look at the CABasicAnimation. It is used to create simple and obvious animations. You can change the opacity, start and end point, and geometric size of the animation.
In this video, I'm showing a practical example with different CABasicAnimation parameters. Let's create a new application in Xcode. I will sort the permanent files that we are not going to change in a separate folder. I rewrite the app delegate. And now, let's add the UI components. It's essential to name the components after you add them. CABasicAnimation I handle in a separate controller. To connect interface builder components to the code, I add IB outlets. The code should be easy to read for you and for others, so it's important to choose proper namings. Let's sort controllers in a separate folder. The controller class should be written in the interface builder. I need to override viewDidLoad. I will start animations from orange button. Let's first add IB action outlet, and then put animation parameters inside of it. In this case, I add duration, start and end point, and timing function. When the animation is done, we need to add it to the layer. I also need to change the corner radius of the layer. In our case, the animation can be interpreted with gesture recognizer, so let's add it. I have an error, and obviously I didn't connect my IB outlets to the components in the interface builder. Now it seems to be fine. Let's look at the next case. I will also add their duration, start and end point, and timing function. Let's connect IB outlet with interface builder component. In this case, we also need a gesture recognizer. And now let's build the app. Yoo-hoo! It works! Third case now. Let's create a separate IB action. We need to specify the blue view position. The view will rotate around it. Besides rotation, animation needs to move from point A to point B, so let's create a separate move animation. There we add start and end points. Next, let's come to the rotation part of the animation. Rotation animation has start and end points as well. Finally, we need to group movement and rotation animation together. We actually create a new group animation. It will have duration and timing function. Now I add the animation to the layer. On final stage, we add gesture recognizers. Oops, seems like I didn't complete my gesture recognizer. Let's fix it. And there is one more mistake. Of course, the key path is wrong. Let's try to build now. Perfect. Final case now. Let's start with adding the gesture recognizer. Now, let's make a new IB action. I need to specify a view position. Then, let's add a move animation. It will have start and end points. For resizing the square, a separate scale animation is required. It will also have start and end points. Let's add one more animation to change the color. Don't forget to add start and end points there. Finally, we put all the animations created into one group. The group animation needs the duration to be specified. Then I add the timing function. repeat count is 2. Let's add the animation to layer.
It helps the speaker lead his audience into the scene he describes by creating an imaginary picture.
And there is a mistake.
Something that moves.
Of course, the IB outlet is not connected to the interface builder component. Let's fix that. How about now? Yep, it works.
Second is a keyframe animation. Keyframe animation is actually more advanced than CABasicAnimation. It has an intermediate values of the animations that are stored in the array.
Let's consider our next case. CAKeyFrameAnimation will be handled in a separate controller. Let's make a new Swift file for it. Another view controller needs to be added in the interface builder. Let's add necessary components inside the new view. We don't want to forget naming components. Let's make the view controller now. First, we create the IB outlets. It's nice to have IB actions, so let's add those. Then we need to override viewDidLoad. Lots of mistakes popped out because UIKit is not imported yet. To make the code look clear, I will add the controller extension. I need show scene path function. Then I add scene path function and animate passcode field function. The last but not least is the animate orange view function. Let's put implementation of those functions in the IB actions. I need to connect IB outlets to the interface builder. The reason why it's failing is because Vue doesn't have the view controller specified. Okay, I fixed that now. And everything works fine. Now let's fill the functions we created. I will start with a function that shows the sinusoid. Before showing the scene path, we actually need to create it, and scene path will just do that. I need to create a CGPath extension so that ThinPath function works fine. In the extension, I add another ThinPath function with necessary parameters.
깊은 바다 속에 손을 데리러 왔어. 어째 나는 잊어버려 우린 함께할 네 모습이 보여. Will everything boil? Would you like to swim in the sky? 우리 멀리 떠나줘. 'Cause baby Swim like a bird, dreaming, dreaming. I can fly to anywhere. You are, you are. That's right.
When the extension is complete, the function ScenePath works properly. Now let's come to adding animations to the orange view and to the passcode field. For shake effect, let's specify the values of position of the animation in particular moment. Then I need to add the key times. Finally, I add the duration and put the animation to the layer.
Style is the answer to everything. A fresh way
One of the last steps is to animate the orange view.
to do a dangerous thing with style is what I call art.
Let's connect the IB actions with the interface builder. Then I make the last changes in the storyboard.
Third is CATransitionAnimation. CATransitionAnimation is valuable when you need to switch from one view to another. Core animation is obviously not one and only framework used in the iOS. There is also UI View framework and UI Kit Dynamic. Those will be covered in the second part of the video. However, it's important to understand that frameworks provided by Apple are quite simple to use, but they provide very easy and obvious and honestly boring animations. Nowadays, it's quite difficult to surprise the user simply with using Apple frameworks. You need to use third-party libraries in order to do something great and advanced. There are three most popular animation libraries. Those are Lottie, Hero, and Spring. Lottie is a library developed by Airbnb. It supports Adobe After Effects animation. It can convert them into native iOS animations. What's more, Lottie is also available for Android, React Native, web, and for Windows. It is the most cross-platform animation library. Lottie has 18,000 stars on GitHub. It is powerful and well documented. It supports models, has many settings, and different behavior classes. Hero is another animation library that you can use to decorate your app. It mainly implements transitions when navigating to controllers. Hero is well made and available on GitHub for years, so you can consider it quite reliable for your application. Hero is also suitable for animating UI collection views or UI table views. It has support for UI table view cells and UI collection view cells. You can rearrange them and display in different layouts. Over 17,000 stars on GitHub are collected by Hero for a reason. If Lottie is for professionals, Hero might be complicated. Spring is just the right choice for you to animate your view controllers and UI views. Imagine you want your UI button to fly around the screen, or you want your UI button to shrink after you click it. This animation library can do it. You can find the test animation on GitHub that demonstrates all the animations with lots of options. You can actually try them in action before you integrate them into the project. Spring has received over 13,000 stars on GitHub. At the end of the day, animations are very important to make the attractive UI. Those can be made with Apple tools or third-party libraries. This is the end of the first part of the video, and second part with more code demonstration comes soon. If you like this video, subscribe on my channel, hit the bell button, and see you in the next video.